Home of the Brave. Snow. When the flying boat returns to earth at last, I open my eyes and gaze out at the round window. Where is all the white? I whisper. Where is all the world? The helping man greets me, and there are many lines and questions and pieces of paper. At last I follow him outside. We call that snow, he says. Isn't it beautiful? Do you like the cold? I want to say no. This cold is like claws on my skin. I look around me. Dead grass pokes through the unkind blanket of white. Everywhere the snow sparkles with light, hard as the high sun. I close my eyes. I try out my new English words. How can you live in this place called America? It burns your eyes. The man gives me a fat shirt and soft things like hands. Coat, he says. Gloves. He smiles. You'll get used to it, Keck. I am a tall boy like all my people. My arms stick out of the coat like lonely trees. My fingers cannot make the gloves work. I shake my head. I say, this America is hard work. His laughter makes little clouds. Old words, new words. The helping man is called Dave. He tells me he's from the refugee resettlement center, but I don't know what those words are trying to say. He isn't tall like my father was, and there is hair on his face, the color of clouds before rain. His car is red, and coughs and burps when he tries to make it go. Doesn't much like the cold either, he says. I smile to say I understand, although I do not. Sometimes Dave speaks English, the tangled sounds they tried to teach us at the refugee camp, and sometimes he uses my words. He's like a song always out of tune, missing notes. To help him, I try some English, but my mouth just wants to chew the words and spit them on the ground. We are like a cow and a goat, wanting to be friends, but wondering if it can ever be. Questions. We drive past buildings, everywhere cars, everywhere dead trees. Who killed all the trees, I ask. They're not dead, Dave says. This is called winter, and it happens every year. In spring, their leaves will come back. You'll see. He turns to smile. His eyes are wise and calm, the eyes of a village elder. Your family will be happy to see you, Dave says. But he doesn't mean my truest family, my mother and father and brother. I don't answer. I reach into my pocket and feel the soft cloth I carry with me everywhere. Blue and yellow, torn at the edges, the size of my hand, soft as new grass after good rain. Dave asks, when did you last see your aunt and cousin? A long time ago, I say, before the camp. I can tell that Dave has many questions. I wonder if all America people will be so curious. My mouth is going to get very sore stumbling on words all day long. We stop at a light hung high in the air, red and round, like a baby's sun. How was the airplane trip? Dave asks in English. When I don't answer, he tries again, using my words. Did you like the flying boat? I liked it very much, I say. I'd like to fly such a boat one day myself. When Mama comes, we'll take a flying boat around the world. Dave turns to look at me. You know, Keck, he says, we aren't sure where your mother is. His voice has the soft sting of pity in it. We don't know if she is. She's fine, I tell him, and I look out the window at the not dead trees. She will come, I say, and this time I use my words, my music. What the heck? We drive down a long road with many fast cars. Still there are buildings, and sometimes not. I see a long fence made of old gray boards, and then I see the cow. Stop! I yell. I feel regret in my heart to use such a harsh sound with my new helping friend. Please stop, I say, gently this time. What? Dave asks. What's wrong? Did you not see her, the brave cow in the snow? Dave glances in the looking back glass. Cow? Oh yeah, that used to be a big farm. Lots of land around here is getting sold off now, but that farmer's hanging on. I don't understand his words, but I can hear that he doesn't love cattle as I do, and I feel sorry for him. I twist in my seat. The don't move belt across my chest pulls back. Oh, what the heck, Dave says. I've not yet learned the meaning of heck, but I can see that it's a fine and useful word because he turns the car around. God with a wet nose. We park by the side of a fast car road. Walking through the snow is hard work, like wading across a river wild with rain. The cow is near a fine, wide-armed, good-for-climbing tree. To say the truth of it, she is not the most beautiful of cows. Her belly sags, and her coat is scarred, and her face tells me she remembers sweeter days. My father would not have stood for such a weary old woman in his herd, and yet to see her here in this strange land makes my eyes glad. In my old home back in Africa, cattle meant life. They are a reason to rise with the sun, to move with the rains, to rest with the stars. They are the way we know our place in the world. The cow looks past me. I can see that she's pouting with only snow and dead grass to keep her company. I shake my head. A cow can be trouble with her slow, stubborn body, her belly ripe with milk, her pleading eyes that shine at you like river rocks in the sun. An old woman comes out of the barn. She's carrying a bucket. 2 chickens trot behind her, scolding and fussing. The woman waves. Just saying hello to the cow, Dave calls. Let me know if she answers, the woman calls back, and she returns to the barn. We should go, Dave says. Your aunt is expecting us. A little longer, I say. Please? I know cattle are important to your people, Dave says. Again he tries to use my words. A man I helped to settle here taught me a saying from Africa. I'll bet you would like it. A cow is God with a wet nose. I laugh. We wait. The wind sneaks through my coat. My teeth shiver. I take off a glove and hold out my hand, and at last the cow comes to me. She moos, a harsh and mournful sound. It isn't the fault of the cow. She doesn't know another way to talk. She can't learn the way I am learning, word by slow, slow word. I stroke her cold, wet coat, and for a moment I hold all I've lost and all I want right there in my hand. Welcome to Minnesota. It's growing dark when I say goodbye to the cow, and we go back to the car to drive again. At last we park before a brown building, taller than trees. Its window lights weep yellow light. Under a street lamp, children throw white balls at the not dead trees. Snowballs, Dave explains. A smalling girl throws one of the balls at Dave's car. He shakes his head. Welcome to Minnesota, he says. We climb out of the car. The snowball girl's face is red, and her long brown hair is wet. Hi, she says. I'm Hannah. You the new kid? I'm not sure of the answer, so I make my shoulders go up and down. Catch, she says, and she throws a cold white ball to me. It falls apart in my hands. I follow Dave across the noisy snow. 2 times I slip and fall. 2 times I rise, pants wet, knees burning. Take it slow, buddy, Dave says. Tears trace my cheeks like tiny knives. I look away so Dave will not see my shame. How can I trust a place where even the ground plays tricks? Inside, we climb up many stairs. We walk down a long hall, passing door after door. Dave knocks on one of them, and behind it I hear the muffled voices of my past. Much time has come and gone, but I still know the worn gray voice of my mother's sister, Nieto. I hear another voice too, the sound of a young man, a strong man. The door opens, and my old life is waiting on the other side. Family. I'm hugged and kissed, and there is much welcoming from my aunt. She's rounder than I remember, with a moon face to match, her black eyes set deep. My cousin, Ganwar, shakes my hand. I have learned about shaking hands. At the camp they taught us how. Be firm, but do not squeeze too hard. Still, when Ganwar grasps my hand, we are like 2 calves in the clouds, pretending we know how to fly. The man's voice belongs to Ganwar, and he has my father's height now, although Ganwar is thin and reedy where my father was sturdy with strength. His eyes are wary and smart, always taking the measure of a person. 6 long scars line his forehead, the marks of manhood. I watched Ganwar and my brother receive in our village ceremony. How jealous I had been that day, too young for such an honor. I try hard not to look at another scar, the place where Ganwar's left hand should be, round and bare and waiting, like an ugly question no one can answer. The night Ganwar lost his hand was the night I lost my father and brother, the night of men in the sky with guns, the night the earth opened up like a black pit and swallowed my old life whole. My aunt holds my face in her hands, and I see that she's crying. I know her to be a woman of many sorrows, carved down to a sharp stone by her luckless life. She isn't like my mother, whose laughter is like bubbling water from a deep spring. I look into her eyes, and then my tears come hard and fast, not for her, not for my cousin, not even for myself, but because when I look there, I see my mother's eyes looking back at me.